Today, we're going to break down something that's super simple but also incredibly powerful when it comes to protecting your money: check crossing. It's a security feature that's been around forever, but you'd be surprised how many people don't fully get it. So let's dive in and see how two little lines can make a huge difference. Okay, picture this. Someone hands you a check. Great. But what happens if you lose it on your way to the bank? Could just anyone who finds it walk up to a counter and cash it? I mean, that piece of paper is real money. So the big question is, how do you make sure it's actually secure?
So before we can talk about the solution, we've got to understand the problem. And it all starts with what's called an open check, or an uncrossed one. This is pretty much the default, and honestly, it comes with some serious risk.
Yeah, you heard that right. Think of a standard uncrossed check as being pretty much the same as cash. If it falls into the wrong hands, that person can potentially just walk up to the bank counter and get the money. And just like that, poof, it's gone. There's almost no way to trace it. That is a massive vulnerability.
So how do we plug the security hole? Well, luckily, the banking world came up with a really elegant and simple solution. It's known as crossing. And here it is in all its glory. It's just two parallel lines usually drawn on the top left corner of the check. That's it. This simple act is called a general crossing, and believe me, those two little lines completely change how that check has to be handled.
So what's the magic here? What do these lines actually do? Well, they're basically a direct instruction to the bank. They say, hey, don't hand over cash for this. Instead, the money must be paid into a bank account. This immediately cuts down the risk of the wrong person cashing it, and just as important, it creates a digital trail. You get a clear record of exactly where the money went.
Okay, so we've got the basics down, but it turns out crossing isn't just a one-size-fits-all thing. There are actually two main types, and they give you different levels of control over where the money can go. We're talking about general crossing versus special crossing. With a general crossing, our two simple parallel lines, the money has to go into a bank account, but it can be an account at any bank. A special crossing, on the other hand, is way more restrictive. By actually writing a specific bank's name on the check, you're telling the paying bank to only release the funds to that one particular bank.
And here's a really cool detail that surprises a lot of people. For a special crossing, those two parallel lines we've been talking about, they're actually optional. Just the act of writing a bank's name on the face of the check is legally enough to make it a special crossing. That really shows you that the most important instruction is naming that specific collecting bank.
All right, let's level up. Beyond just saying the money has to go into a bank, you can add specific words to the crossing for even more layers of security. And these aren't just suggestions, they are powerful instructions with very specific legal weight.
First up is the not negotiable crossing. Now that word negotiable is a bit of legal jargon, but what this crossing does is attach a huge warning label to the check. It basically says that the chain of ownership is super important. Your right to the money, what the law calls your legal title, can't be any better than the right of the person who gave you the check.
Let's put that in plain English, okay? Imagine a check marked not negotiable gets stolen. The thief obviously has a defective title. They don't own it. Now, if that thief gives the check to you, even if you have no idea it was stolen, you also get a defective title. You can't legally claim that money from the actual owner. It's a really powerful way to protect the person who was supposed to get the money in the first place. And now we get to the king of them all, the most secure, most restrictive type of crossing there is: account payee, or AC payee. This isn't just a warning. It's a direct order to the bank that's collecting the money. It tells them, take these funds and deposit them only into the bank account of the person whose name is written right here on the pay line. Nobody else, period.
And this isn't just a friendly suggestion. Official directives, like this one from the Reserve Bank of India, make it crystal clear. Putting money from an ACPay check into anyone else's account is completely unauthorized. If a bank messes this up, they are on the hook. This is the ultimate lockdown for a check payment.
Okay, so we've covered how all of us can use crossing to stay safe. But what happens when banks need to work with other banks? Well, there's even a special type of crossing for that. It's a bit of an inside baseball move, you could say, but it's pretty fascinating.
It's called a double crossing. So imagine a check is specially crossed to Bank A. But Bank A doesn't have a branch nearby to actually collect the payment. In a situation like this, Bank A can cross the check a second time, adding the name of Bank B. Bank B then acts as its agent to go and collect the money. It's basically one bank delegating the job to another.
So this brings us to a really interesting final question. We've spent this entire time building up all these layers of security, right? Locking things down.
But what if there's a mistake? Or what if you just change your mind? Is it possible to reverse a crossing and turn it back into a simple open check?
And the answer is yes. It is possible, and it even has a specific name, opening a crossing. But as you probably guessed, you can't just scribble out the lines and call it a day. There's a very strict process to make sure the security isn't just thrown out the window.
See, this whole process shows you who really holds the power. Only the drawer, the person who wrote the check in the first place, can open a crossing. They have to physically cancel it, write the words "pay cash" on it, and then, this is the most important part, add their full signature to approve the change. It brings our journey full circle, doesn't it? 2 simple lines can secure your money from pretty much anyone, but only the original signature can ever unlock it, giving you both safety and the ultimate control.